Slappy to his chest, his dark, wide eyes fixed on the door. I keep my promises, Isaac. A deafening crash followed the crack of the splintered wood. The door crumbled and fell open. Heavy boots stomped over as men in dark clothing and black hoods burst through the door and into the cottage. Torch flames licked the low ceiling. The voices of the men were loud and angry. Darkwell slid Slappy to a corner of the workbench, and then he turned to face the intruders. Chief Constable Coben pushed past his way to the front, swinging his cane to scatter the men from his path, his face burning red in the bright torchlight. He raised the cane and pointed it at Darkwell. "You did not heed my warning, old man," he boomed. Behind him, the hooded villagers shouted angry words and jabbed their torches menacingly toward the sorcerer and his nephew. Isaac clung to his uncle's robe. Whispers escaped his throat. "You have no reason to invade my home and threaten me," Darkwell said, shouting over the murmurs of the men. He placed his hands on Isaac's shoulders. "I am a simple doll maker." "We did not come for such a discussion," Coben shouted. "We know what you are, and we will not have you in our village. We are decent people, and we obey the laws of nature, not the laws of darkness." "Burn the house, burn the house," some men began to chant. "Burn it down, burn it all." Coben raised his cane to silence them. "Darkwell, we have come to put an end to your evil," he shouted. "Burn it down, burn it down." The flames appeared to grow brighter as the men stabbed their torches toward the ceiling. Coben struck his cane against the floor. "Silence! We will burn it down, and this old sorcerer with it. But first, we must deal with the boy." "No," Isaac wailed. He held on tightly to the front of Darkwell's robe. Coben took a few heavy steps across the room. "We want the boy," he said. "Hand him over to us. Your days, Darkwell, are over. Your doom comes today, but the boy will be saved, for we are taking him from you." "Uncle, please," Isaac whined. "You promised." Coben stretched out both hands. "Hand him over, Darkwell. Hand him over now." A stillness fell as Darkwell stared back at the chief constable with his icy gray eyes. After a long moment, the old sorcerer broke his silence. "As you wish," he said. "Here he is. You can take him." Chapter 5. "No," Isaac wailed. Darkwell grabbed the boy's wrists and pushed him towards the chief constable. "He is all yours," Darkwell said. Coben blinked in surprise. He then seized Isaac around the waist. Isaac was crying again and struggled free. He dove back to Darkwell and clung to the front of the sorcerer's robe once more. "No, please, no." The hooded men stumbled on in silence. Their low murmurs stopped. The torches in their hands locked into place. "The boy is all yours," Darkwell said again, as he shoved Isaac towards Coben. Coben gripped Isaac once again. He started to pull him towards the door. "Wait," Darkwell said. "Please, may I have a moment to say goodbye to him?" Darkwell reached under his robe. He pulled out a large metal key. He stepped up to Isaac and swept it into the back of the boy's thick hair. Coben's eyes went wide as Darkwell pushed the key into the back of Isaac's head. Everyone heard a sharp Isaac's eyes closed, his mouth fell agape, his knees collapsed, and he dropped to the floor. Coben shouted in horror as Isaac's head hit the floor and cracked open like a walnut. Gasps rose throughout the cottage as everyone stared at the wires and the tubes inside his head. Darkwell tucked the key up under his robe. "I promised Isaac he wouldn't have to worry about you," he said. Coben took a few staggered steps back until he bumped into the startled men. "The boy, he isn't real," Coben stammered, pointing his cane at the body on the floor. "He is one of your creations." A thin smile crossed Darkwell's face. "One of my best," he said. Burn him now," a man shouted, and the others took up the chant. "Burn him, burn him, burn him." Swinging their torches, they stormed forward, Darkwell raising his hands above his head as if to shield himself. The ceiling caught fire. A chair and Isaac's cot burst into flames. Then, with a crackling explosion, the workbench began to burn as well. Chapter 6. Coughing and choking in the thick black smoke, the villagers turned and ran. Constable Coben bent up to pick up the broken Isaac doll, but then he changed his mind and he too tumbled out the door. Darkwell shielded himself from the smoke and fire with the front of his robe. The workbench sizzled and popped, burning behind him. He swept Slappy into his hands and clutched him tight to his chest and ran into the night. Constable Coben and the hooded villagers watched at the edge of the woods. Many had dropped their torches inside the burning cottage, but a few still flamed in their hands. "You will not escape," Darkwell's voice echoed in the shadowy trees. "You have committed crimes against nature. Tonight, we will make sure that you pay for these crimes. Burn him, burn him." The hooded men picked up their chant once again. Two men, their torches pointed, moved towards the old sorcerer. The orange flames sputtered in the wind, then trailed behind them like fiery snakes. Darkwell called out in surrender. He took a few steps back as the men advanced. Then everything seemed to freeze as the doll sat up in the sorcerer's arms. Slappy's eyes went wide and his hands flew up at his sides. "Enough!" His scream made several villagers gasp. One of them dropped his torch and the tall grass smothered the flames. "Enough!" Slappy's cry rang throughout the woods. The hooded men huddled closer together. No one moved. Coben then raised his cane. "More evidence of your crime, the sorcerer," he shouted. "This talking demon proves that your evil magic must be ended tonight." The villagers gasped as Slappy tossed his head back and laughed. "Ha ha 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 ha," a shrill and cold laugh. "Thank you for all the drama and entertainment," the doll cried. "But Father and I will be leaving now." "You'll leave in flames," Coben shouted. He signaled with his cane for the men to attack with their torches. But they stared in shock as Slappy raised both hands above his head and shouted a stream of these strange words. "Lembrada osisai commandere domis malardo ven." The ground shook, tree branches cracked. The villagers uttered choked gasps and froze exactly where they stood, for even under their hoods their fear could be seen. It was as if time had stopped. None of the hooded men could blink or breathe or move. They stood as still as statues, and even with the flames in their torches froze and hung stiffly in the air. "We can go now, Father, Slappy cried, his shrill voice ringing loudly in the frozen silence. But Darkwell held back, his eyes remaining uncoven. He squinted hard into the man's bearded face and saw Coven blink. Your spell has not worked on the constable, Darkwell murmured. Coven let out a furious growl and came charging at Darkwell, the tip of his cane pointed at the sorcerer's belly. Your evil cannot work on the righteous, he boomed. You may want to rethink that, Slappy called out. He swung both hands above his head once more, and Coven stopped, inches away. Have a good trip, Slappy shouted. He swung up his hands higher, and Coven took flight, his boots sailing up from the ground. The cane fell from the constable's hands as he floated into the night, his hands grasping at the air, his feet kicking frantically as he soared higher and higher into the air above the burning cottage. His screams faded as he flew into the distance, and then finally out of sight as silence returned to the woods. Darkwell raised his creation in front of you. I have succeeded with you, he exclaimed. Your powers are wonderful. He took one last look at the ashes of his cottage. Then he tucked the grinning doll underneath his robe and took off, running into the forest. You will make history, Darkwell declared. Evil history. Couldn't have done it without you, Slappy explained. Ha 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 ha. His cold laughter again ringing off the trees. Here's that illustration of Slappy. So part 2 is titled Tampa, Florida. So this should be quite interesting. So, Christmas time this year. While readers talk about a change of scenery, let me move you up the story 200 years to today, and let's get out of that cold and angry village. Here we are at Tampa Bay Middle School on a warm Florida day in December. You're going to meet 12-year-old Reggie Foreman standing backstage in the school's big auditorium. Does Reggie have any idea that he and his sisters are about to enter a world of pain? Of course not. Reggie is watching his 10-year-old sister Poppy from the side of the stage. Poppy is in front of the curtains, perched on a tall wooden stool, strumming away at her banjo. A yellow spotlight shines down on her, so bright Reggie can see the drops of sweat on her forehead. It's the holiday talent show, the last day of the school before winter break. Reggie is ready to perform next. He has his dummy Junior tucked under one arm. He feels excited and not nervous. So who else is thinking that Reggie's dummy is not exactly what he thinks it is? Reggie knows his ventriloquism act is funny. With his large round eyes and goofy smile, Junior is always a big hit with the audience. Reggie is worried about Poppy, though. She's already made a few mistakes during her banjo solo. But Reggie should be worried on other things. What exactly should Reggie be worried about? And what does this have to do with Darkwell, our sorcerer? Be patient, readers. You know I'm going to reveal the answers. Chapter 7. Reggie watched his younger sister Poppy on stage and shuddered. Did the kids in the auditorium notice her mistakes? Reggie hoped not. Poppy wanted to impress her friends. And then, bing! Reggie watched a banjo string break. He heard Poppy gasp. She stopped for a second, and then picked up playing again. She's being brave, Reggie thought, but under the bright spotlight he could see the tears in her eyes. Bummer, Reggie muttered to himself. He knew that Poppy had spent weeks practicing for her number. She even wrote an original holiday song for the show. Reggie felt bad. His sister was using his old banjo. They should have put new strings on it before she started playing. But it was Poppy's own fault, he told himself. She is always copying me. Whatever I do, she wants to do too. She should have picked a different instrument, but no, since I played the banjo in 5th grade, she has to play the banjo too. He could see the broken string waving in the air as she tried to strum. Poppy finished her song, jumped down from the stool, and took a small bow. The kids gave her some quiet applause. Wiping the tears away from her cheeks, she stomped off stage. "Hey, Poppy, you were awesome," Reggie called down to her, but she shoved him out of the way and kept walking. Well, Reggie thought, it's not my fault. Maybe I can convince Mom and Dad to buy her a new banjo for Christmas, and I could give her some lessons. Poppy might like that. On stage, Miss Harrison, the middle school principal, leaned over the microphone, and now she announced, "Please, let's welcome Reggie Foreman and his funny friend, Junior, to the stage." "Are you ready?" Reggie asked Junior. "Let's do this." Reggie raised the dummy in both hands and strode out onto the spotlight. Chapter 8. Reggie dropped down on the stool and sat the dummy on his lap. "This is Junior," he told the audience. "Hey, why do they call you Junior?" He pulled the string in the dummy's back and made the mouth open and close. "'Cause that's my name," Reggie made Junior's voice gruff and deep. "Well, Junior," Reggie continued, "how are you feeling today?" "I'd feel a lot better if you didn't have your hand stuck in my back." That got a good laugh from the kids in the audience. "That's not nice, Junior. I think you should say you're sorry," Reggie said. "Hey, don't put words in my mouth," Junior exclaimed. "If I don't put words in your mouth, it will be pretty quiet up here," Reggie said. The audience laughed hard at that one, some kids even clapping. "Well, who's working your head?" Junior demanded. More laughter. "At least my head isn't made of wood," Reggie said. He made Junior's eyes blink. "Your head? I've seen better heads on a lettuce. I've seen a head of cabbage with more personality than you, Reggie." Big laughs. "It's almost Christmas time, Junior," Reggie told the dummy. "What do you want for Christmas this year?" "I thought maybe you could give me $5,000 so I can buy a cup of coffee," Junior answered. "Whoa," Reggie replied. "Why do you need $5,000 for a cup of coffee?" "I want to drink it in Brazil," Junior answered. More laughs and applause. Reggie saw his friend Diego in the front row. Diego had already heard the entire act, but he was laughing harder than anyone else. Reggie felt good. The kids were laughing and clapping at every joke. Now came the part that the audience always loved. Reggie had a glass of water on the stage beside the stool. "I want to show you a magic trick," Junior said. "You know the magic trick?" He made Junior nod his head. "I'm an awesome magician. I'm going to show you a great trick, Reggie. Pick up the glass." Reggie reached down for the glass. "You want me to pick up the glass? It's full of water." "Yes," Junior said. "Now lift the glass high and pour it over your head." You want me to pour the water all over my head?" "Give me a break, Junior. What kind of trick is this?" "You'll see," Junior said. "It's an awesome trick. Pour the water on your head and you won't get wet." Reggie raised the glass over his head. "You're sure? You're sure I won't get wet? Isn't that the trick?" Junior nodded. "Go ahead. That's the trick." "Well, okay," Reggie said. "Here goes." He slowly tilted the glass and the water splashed down over his head, soaking his hair and his shirt. "I knew it," Junior cried. "That trick never works." Shaking water off his head, Reggie stood up and took a bow. Kids cheered and clapped and stomped their feet. Miss Harrison was still laughing as he stepped off the center of the stage. "We have a winner," she declared. "Actually, 2 weighs a lot, Reggie told her. Let me hold him, another girl said. Reggie felt helpless as the kids passed the dummies around. He raised his eyes from the crowd of kids around him and saw his sister watching from down the hall. Poppy carried her banjo case stiffly at her side. She had a glum scowl on her face as she stared at her brother. She's giving me the evil eye, Reggie thought. This means trouble. Chapter 9. Christmas is totally weird down here, Reggie's mom said. She passed the salad bowl to Poppy. I have to go to the mall today, and the Santa Claus is wearing shorts. Mr. Foreman nodded. He piled a heap of spaghetti onto his plate. On the way home, I passed a yard where they put Christmas lights on their palm trees. I guess we won't have a white Christmas this year, Reggie said, wiping spaghetti sauce off his chin. Why did we have to leave Ohio? Poppy grumbled. She passed the salad bowl to her dad without taking any. Her dad frowned. Do I really have to say it again? The office moved my job to Tampa, remember? Wipe that look off your face, Poppy, Mom scolded. You didn't love Cleveland that much either. You complained you always had to wear 3 sweaters at a time. You were always so cold. I did it because the layers are cool, Poppy muttered into her spaghetti. Not because it was cold. She was definitely cold. I know that move when you're a kid. Reggie watched his sister from across the table, still angry, jabbing her fork into her plate like a weapon. They didn't talk about the holiday talent show yesterday, but he knew it was still on her mind, making her grumpy. That morning he had stopped at the bedroom door. Hey, Poppy, he said, I have an idea. Want me to give you a few pointers on the banjo? She said some very rude words and slammed the door in his face. He stared at the door. So, I guess that's a no. After breakfast, he tried again to pull her out of her bad mood. I'm going to the skate park with Diego. Wanna come along? She growled at him. Should I tell you what you can do with your skateboard? Poppy could have a mean mouth when she was angry. Reggie and Diego had gone to the skate park that afternoon and had a great time. They met some guys and picked up a few new tricks and survived without a single scratch or scrape. Reggie loved wearing shorts and a t-shirt in December. Who needed gloves and snow parkas and big clunky boots? How could Poppy be so down on Florida? Now that dinner was nearly over, and she was still grumpy. Is that all you're going to eat? Their mom asked, staring at the pile of spaghetti on Poppy's plate. Are you keeping track? Poppy snapped. Do you want to count the strands? Can I remind you that it's almost Christmas? Their dad set his eyes on Poppy. That's probably the best time of year to be nice to your parents, don't you think? Poppy didn't reply. I think I know what you should get Poppy for Christmas, Reggie said. A muzzle, their mom suggested. It wasn't a very nice joke, but they all laughed, even Poppy. A new banjo, Reggie said. My old banjo was garbage, and Poppy could really be awesome with a new one. Poppy banged her fork on the table so hard the plate jumped. I don't want a banjo, she said through gritted teeth. I don't want to talk about banjos. I hate the banjo. I'm never going to play it again. It's a stupid instrument. Just because the string broke, Reggie started. Shut up about the banjo, Poppy growled. I mean it. She scooted her chair back and started to stand up. Sit down. Mr. Foreman waved her down with both hands. Let's talk about what you do want for Christmas. This should be a fun conversation, their mom said. Not an argument. Who's arguing? Poppy said, crossing her arms in front of her. Reggie tossed a dinner roll across the table at his sister. It bounced off her forehead and onto her plate. Poppy didn't react at all. She just stared straight ahead, his mom squinting at him. Why did you do that? Reggie shrugged. I don't know. I just felt like it. Even though it was kind of mean, everyone thought it was funny. Poppy tried not to laugh, but a small smile crossed her face. I had this cool idea, Reggie told his parents. Wouldn't it be funny if Junior had a dummy of his own? You could buy me a tiny little one and put it on Junior's lap. I'd call him Junior Junior. It would be a riot. Funny idea, Mr. Foreman started, but Poppy interrupted. I'm the one who likes puppets and dolls, not Reggie. I've always been the one. Look at all the dolls in my closet. I used to make them talk and put on shows, remember? True, their dad said. But what does that mean? So, I want a ventriloquism dummy for Christmas, Poppy shouted. I want a dummy of my own. And that is when all the scary stuff started. Chapter 10. Poppy, you're copying me again, Reggie said. I am not, she cried. I really want a dummy that I can perform with. Maybe I'll do kids' birthday parties with it, and the parents will pay me to entertain. She scowled at him and narrowed her eyes. Why do you always get all the attention? You shouldn't be jealous of Reggie, their mother said. He's found something he really enjoys, and he's good at it. Poppy shook her head. I'm not jealous. I just want a dummy. They sell them at Sackler's toy store, you know, that store we went to after the Buccaneers game, across from the football stadium. She crossed her arms again. What's the big deal? The big deal is, Reggie said, that you're copying me again. Why can't you do your own thing? Why don't you shut up, Poppy snapped. You're just afraid I'll be better at it than you. Stop it, you two, Mr. Foreman said. I'll buy you a dummy, Poppy, but you two can't be fighting about it all the time. And you can't be competing over them, their mom added. We're not fighting, Reggie said. He turned to his sister. Okay, if you want to get a dummy, I'll help you with it. I'll show you how to throw your voice and work his eyes and mouth, and I'll help you with your jokes and stuff. That's nice of you, Reggie, their dad said. Your brother always tries to help you, Mrs. Foreman said. He helped you with the banjo, too, and with your skateboard, although you gave up on that, too. But I don't need his help, Poppy insisted. She turned to her dad. The dummy is called Mr. Wood. I saw boxes and boxes of Mr. Wood dummies at Sackler's. That's the one I want. Mr. Foreman lifted the dinner napkin off his lap and dropped it onto the table. He smiled. Well, Poppy, maybe Santa will bring it for you. And that was that. It won't be long now, readers. Mr. Wood will be appearing soon. And trust me, the Foreman house